Hello, back again. Thank you so much for watching all these videos so far, and we're about to go into step 4, and step 4 is where it starts to get pretty real. Step 4 is where the work really starts, and step 4 is also the step that a lot of people, myself included, try to avoid or put off doing it because it involves writing some stuff down that can be quite challenging to look at and quite uncomfortable, very uncomfortable in some cases, but it's all with that end goal in mind of being sober. So when I did it, I just kept reminding myself the old life was pathetic and dark and boring and horrible, and I don't want to go back there. I had the gift of desperation that we talked about last week. I had that gift of desperation, so I was willing to do this step because the alternative was too horrible to think about. And even if the bottom for you is, just not being a nice person, not having self-esteem, not showing up for your family, getting drunk when you don't want to, do you really want to go back to that? Especially after doing the first 3 steps, why not just do 4 and see what happens? So step 4 is made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. So this step I'm going to split up into 2 videos because it's quite a lot going on in this step. So basically you just have to write down everything in your life that's caused you an upset in some way. You write it all down. Searching and fearless means you don't leave anything out, and even the hard stuff, you just write it down. That's all you have to do, just write it down. This step is just about getting it out. Anything, people, places or things that have upset you, that have caused you distress, anything you're resentful at, just get it all out, write it down. This is where the change really starts to happen as well. This is where you start to feel better. Step 5 was when I lost the urge to drink and use. It went away around step 5 completely. So this is where it really starts getting exciting and good, but it can be challenging. My sponsor told me to write 2 step 4 lists. One list that I wasn't going to tell anyone, and one list that I was okay to talk about. And we'll talk about what he did with those lists in the next video. Step 4, there's 4 columns you write down on a piece of paper, and the 4 columns are: column 1, the name of the person, place, institution that caused you upset. Column 2, what did they do? So, for example, Mr. Jones didn't give me a job I wanted. So that would be one of the entries. Column 3 is what did it affect? And the big book and Alcoholics Anonymous has certain categories that have been around since the book was written about what this Mr. Jones not giving you the job affected. Because really, human beings have been the same for probably millenniums. So our human condition now is the same as it was in the 40s where this was written. We still got resentful at people, still the same basic reasons for getting resentful: self-esteem, personal relationships, sexual relationships, money. That doesn't really change. So I feel like this is kind of a timeless list of effects that these resentments have on us. It's interesting what category of thing of like spark did it spark in you of resentment. And the categories are self-esteem, pride, ambition, security, personal relations, sex relations, and pocketbook. It's old-fashioned, isn't it? It just means money. Self-esteem, pride, ambition, security, personal relations, sex relations, and pocketbook. So Mr. Jones, was it Mr. Jones? I can't remember. Mr. Brown? Mr. Jones not giving me the job affected my self-esteem. I feel bad about myself. Affected my pride. Ambition, I was hoping to get on in life, and this was a stepping stone, so it affected my ambition. Security, I may not have enough money to pay the mortgage this month because I didn't get the job from Mr. Jones, so it affects my security. Personal relationships, I might have an argument with my wife or girlfriend or boyfriend, or because I didn't get the job, they may be angry with me, so personal relationship affects, wow, Mr. Jones really affected everything. He hit all these, little bastard. Sex relations, maybe not sex relations though, he probably didn't damage that. Or maybe your self-esteem is down, your pride is down, your personal relationship with your wife may be affected, so that might affect sex relations. Pocketbook, money, definitely. He definitely affected my pocketbook because I'm not getting the wages from that job. So Mr. Jones hit all of these. Bloody Mr. Jones. See, I'm resentful at him. He's causing me anger, he's causing me resentment. He's living rent-free in my head. He doesn't know that I'm upset with him, but he's living in there, just living rent-free. So I think I'm going to leave it at the first 3 columns for this video because that's an easier thing to do. Just write down the person, place or thing that upset you, what happened, and what it affected. Just those 3 columns. There's another column after this, but we'll get to that in the next video. But just do those 3 and see how it goes. My step 4, to give you some help, a lot of my step 4 was resentments at myself. So on the first column, it'd be resentful at me for letting down my friend that time when we were supposed to meet up for his bachelor party, but I got so drunk and high that I didn't show up and I was supposed to put it all together. What did it affect? It affected my personal relations with all my friends. It affected my self-esteem. I felt like a piece of shit for doing that to him. Didn't affect my pride or ambition, so we can leave those off. It didn't affect my security. It didn't affect my pocketbook, so we can leave that one off. It didn't affect sex relations, we can leave that off. So it affected my self-esteem and my personal relations. Be as honest as you can, try not to leave anything out. Searching and fearless moral inventory, remember? We made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. So we're just doing the first 3 columns of that. So we've got to be honest, we've got to really think, who's upset me? How have I upset myself? And what did it affect? Good luck. It's going to be interesting. Next week, we'll get into the 4th column. So I went to 2 meetings this week, 2 Zoom meetings. And you know what? I feel a lot better. I was going a little crazy. And whenever I go crazy or I get depressed or I get upset, I'm like, I wonder what's causing that? And then I never think the obvious, the real reason, which is you're an alcoholic and an addict and you haven't been to a meeting for a couple of weeks. That's going to make me feel shit, because what am I using to fill the hole in the soul? Work, success, all the things that don't work, money. You know, these things don't work. So I'm trying, if I don't go to a meeting, I'm trying, going back to this insanity, going back to this, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Putting these things in, they're not working. I get depressed. Oh, I wonder why, because you haven't been to a meeting. So the good news is meetings still work. So I'm feeling a lot better this week. Have you guys been to a meeting? A lot of you have told me you've been to meetings, which is amazing. I just love getting messages that you guys have been inspired to go to a meeting because of one of the videos, or even just telling me how long you've got. I love reading how long you've got sober. I can't answer all the messages, but I do read them. I promise I read them. Stephen Hilton with a PH 23. That's my handle on Twitter. So go and leave me messages there. That's where I like to see them all, because that means I can read out questions on these videos, because if it's all on Twitter, I can just read your questions. So Stephen Hilton 23 at Twitter. Please tell me how you're doing. Tell me how you're getting on. Tell me your stories. This is like a meeting for me, talking to you guys. Zoom meetings are very similar to this, so it's not a big leap to watch this video and go to a meeting. It won't be such a massive jump, which is good, because perhaps watching this video and then going to a real meeting might be a little too much. But a Zoom meeting is very much like this, and you'll have much better people talking to you than me, and they'll have more insight, I'm sure. So yeah, why not? If you're struggling with addiction, go to a meeting. Go to a Zoom meeting. Anyway, as I say every week, and I mean it, I love you guys, and thank you for keeping me sober this week. Me talking to you helps me get sober. That's how the program works. Love you. Good luck. Tell me how you're doing. Any questions you have, tweet me, Stephen Hilton with a PH 23. I'll answer a couple next week. And just message me. Tell me how you're doing, because I'm loving hearing these stories. Love you guys. Bye. Brooke Whitney on Twitter writes, is it normal for someone to meet their partner in early recovery? And is it considered healthy? People in AA say that you're not supposed to have a relationship in the first year of recovery because you're just too crazy in year one. I think I go along with that. Me and Laura were a bit different because we were together and I had multiple years, and then so I relapsed, and then I came back, and in early recovery we got back together. So that's a little bit different. But starting a new relationship in the first year, especially with another addict, is treacherous because you can send each other out of the program by, emotional turmoil can send an addict back into using in the first year, especially risky. So I think I go along with that. It's not a good idea in the first year to start a new relationship. Take it easy in the first year. Just concentrate on yourself and try and get healthy and try and get spiritually fit. And then you'll be a better partner for someone anyway. So that's what I think, and that's what I've been told, and I think I agree with it. So thank you for your question. Courtney McFadden on Twitter asked me, how do you end toxic relationships that could cause a person to be triggered to use again? There are friends like that, aren't there? They have that trigger mechanism. They just make you want to use, and people you used to use with, people you used to drink with. It's difficult. You have to re-establish those friendships, I think. Some people I was using friends with, I ended up being friends with still. One of my oldest friends I'm still friends with, and we used to drink together all the time. And then another really close friend of mine I've had to cut ties with completely because my recovery has to come first. They say whatever you put in front of your sobriety, you'll lose. Even, Laura or, even Alfie, if I put them in front of sobriety, I'm going to lose them. And it's a sad thing to realize that addiction is that strong. So your sobriety has to be your first priority. And if people are triggering you, they've got to go. Maybe you can reconnect later when you've had that time to reestablish your boundaries, and you can hang out in sober situations with those same people, but you have to cut ties with them at the beginning. Just say, I'm trying to get sober, I can't go to bars, I can't hang out at clubs. It's dangerous for me, it's a dangerous situation. If they're good friends, they'll understand. If they don't understand, they got to go.